We all have karmic lessons that we are, as a soul, are meant to learn in each lifetime. And usually it's those lessons that we didn't learn in previous lifetimes that come up for review again. But at what point, when do you actually know that you actually have completed karmic lessons? Well, that's a really good question. In this video, I want to share with you 6 signs that you have just completed a karmic lesson. Now, when we're talking about karmic lessons, that also includes certain agreements you have made with certain souls as well. Because in order to learn certain lessons, well, you also need to make agreements with certain souls to come into your life at a specific time to help you learn these lessons. And karmic lessons are usually those lessons that in a previous lifetime you had been given the opportunity to learn, but you didn't for whatever reason. And now in this lifetime, you have the opportunity to maybe learn that lesson again. Now, the more you awaken, the more you become aware of the challenges. And by the way, I also have a video about karmic relationships. If that is of interest to you, the link is in the description below. We're talking a bit more about the signs of karmic relationships, because each and every person in your life, they are there for a specific reason. They are often here for to help you learn something, to help you complete certain agreements, to release certain karmic lessons as well. But when we're talking about karmic lessons, this is not about karma, what comes around goes around. It's really not that. When we're talking about karmic lessons, it's truly lessons that you as a soul were meant to learn, experience that you were meant to experience in order to learn from that, to grow from that, because your soul comes into each lifetime with a desire to learn, to grow, to experience certain things. But there are also certain things that your soul is asking to learn. But because you as a human being, well, you have free will, right? So even though your soul desires to learn certain things, well, if you are maybe resistant, you're not paying attention or anything like that, or you're not ready to learn it, well, then the soul is not going to learn it. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to karmic lessons. They usually stay with you for numerous lifetimes until one day you are actually ready. You have grown ready enough to learn these lessons. But in this video, I want to share with you 6 signs that you have completed karmic lessons. The first sign is that certain situations, they keep repeating themselves. It's like constantly on repeat in different variations. But then all of a sudden, previously they were maybe challenging and you didn't know how to solve it. But then all of a sudden, they're just starting to seem easier to maneuver through them. What previously seemed very challenging about the situation doesn't seem as challenging anymore. It feels like that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Now, if you've ever experienced a period of extreme hardship, these are often also karmic lessons that you're meant to learn. But then all of a sudden, if you're noticing that, okay, I think things becoming easier, there's really light at the end of the tunnel, you're seeing somewhat of a solution, things starting to fall in place, that is a sign that this particular karmic lesson is coming to completion. You then maybe also are not as affected by the situation as you were previously. That is truly a good sign that this karmic lesson, now that you have learned the lesson. Which brings me into the second sign, is that you then start looking at things from a different perspective. You look at things differently. Maybe you are seeing more of the higher truth. You are seeing really the lesson within this. Now, one thing that I always like to invite my clients, and also want to invite you, is that whenever there's a challenge, what you can do is to really speed up the process of you learning the lesson, because in order to learn a lesson, well, you have to become aware of what is the lesson. So one thing you can do is, if you have a challenge or whatever challenge that you're experiencing right now, or even previously, you can even look back at previous challenging times. Let's say you've really gone through adversity or you experienced some immense hardship. You can still look back and uncover the lesson within it to make sure, have you truly learned the lesson? So it won't repeat itself. Because if you've gone through hardship and you didn't really learn the lesson, or only partially, well, it will come up again at a later time. So what you can do is, and that's also a good sign that you are completing lessons, is when you are looking at a situation, you remove the emotional charge around it. You will basically take a step back on an emotional level. You're not focusing on how it made you feel and you know, that you kind of like you being in the victim mode of the challenge, but you're taking a step back and you're looking at, okay, what can I learn from this? What did that situation trigger within me? But really completely detached from the emotional aspects of it. Looking at it from really that outside kind of perspective to see, well, what is the message here? What is the lesson here? What's the gift within the challenge? Now, of course, when you're right in the middle of it and you're totally in the emotion, of course, it's very difficult to see the lesson within it because you're just a victim of the situation, basically. But when you allow yourself to really remove the emotions, remove all that stuff, the fear, the doubt, the worry or whatnot, and really take that step back and look at it from that angle. Okay, what can I learn from this? What is this bringing up within me? And this can be about small things. It can be about big things, right? But when you allow yourself to see that, that's how you then also more quickly are releasing the karmic lesson, completing the karmic lesson, because what the purpose of a karmic lesson is, well, you got to learn a lesson, right? And if you're looking at it from that detached perspective, like, okay, what can I learn from this? And you allow yourself to be honest. And here, yes, it can cause you to then feel a little upset when you're getting the answer. But I would see that more as an empowering step, because then you have the awareness. If you don't have the awareness, if you don't know, well, you can't do anything about it. But when you allow yourself to really sit down, think back like, okay, what can I learn from this? And allow yourself to get the insights. That's how you then also release the lesson. But so as far as the sign that you're just completing one is that you start to look at situations differently, and just being able to remove the emotion from the situation and looking at that in itself shows that you have grown, that you are about to complete the lesson because you are able to look at the situation from a higher perspective. Like really looking at from that, seeing that higher truth within it, because everything that happens to you, it's not really happening to you, it's happening for you. It's happening to your highest and greatest good, helping you learn, helping you grow, helping you transform. So when you allow yourself to look at things as like, well, everything happens for a reason. There is a reason for why you have gone through the things that you have gone through, the good, the bad, the ugly. Believe me, I've had my fair share of really challenging times, and I too had to really lift myself above the emotion, the challenge, and look at it like, well, what can I learn from this? Was it easy? No. But when you allow yourself to really look at it from that higher perspective, that higher truth, you will grow so tremendously from it, and that's how you can truly complete it. That's how you then really can take the lesson from it. Let go of all the pain and the agony and the frustration and all that stuff, because that's just the packaging of it, right? Like the story, the emotions, it's just the packaging of what's at the core, and you want to uncover the core. But once you start being able to really look at it from a different perspective, that higher perspective, that is a sure sign that you are about to complete this particular karmic lesson. Then the third sign here is that you're then actually starting to learn the deeper meaning. You're uncovering what is at the core of it. And that's just kind of going back to what I just shared with you about looking at it from a detached point of view and looking at what is truly the lesson here? What is the meaning behind that? Because anything that happens in your life that is triggering you, well, it's triggering you for a reason. You're then able to go deep, like, okay, where's this coming from? Where can I heal from that? Or what needs healing? What needs releasing? Instead of looking at fault or blaming something outside of you, you're really looking within like, okay, I created this. This is something that happened within me that I then called forth. And when you allow yourself to really see the deeper meaning of the challenge, the situation, things like that, that too is a great sign that you're about to complete this particular lesson. Because then you also have the greater understanding that why this is happening, why you're experiencing this, and how this will then maybe lead you forward. Then the fourth sign is that the more you're releasing those karmic lessons, and as you're going through this, as you're learning those lessons, you then start to respond differently. What I mean with respond is you're actually responding by thinking about first, like, how do I want to feel about this? Do I even want this? Do I want to just blow up here, or do I want to keep my calm? Responding means that you're actually responding in ways that are to your highest and greatest good, because you are meant to learn a lesson. So here I give you an example. Let's say you get a bill in the mail, and up until this point, you were freaking out like, oh my God, don't know how to pay this bill, like an unexpected bill. Let's say your car breaks down and all of a sudden you have to pay $300 or whatnot. And you're freaking out. I don't know how. I don't have the money. Things like that. Well, as you start to learn karmic lessons, so let's say your karmic lesson was more about believing in abundance, knowing that you are supported, that there is enough there for everyone and things like that. Let's say then you're starting to respond, okay, even though I wasn't expecting this bill right now, I know the money will show up. That is responding in ways that are to your highest and greatest good, versus before, oh my God, I got a bill in the mail, I don't know how to pay for this. That is reacting. You're reacting in a limited way. But when you're responding in a higher level kind of way, like a higher perspective, more aligned way. Because as you start to learn those lessons, you are then learning also, and well, you know what, everything is going to be okay. Right? So once you start to respond differently, that's also an absolutely amazing sign that you are completing a certain lesson, a karmic lesson. Then the fifth sign is that situations just start to resolve. People just start leaving your life and things just start to fall away, just like magic, basically. And because the thing is, when you learn certain lessons, well, the situation doesn't need to be there anymore. The people that were part of this don't need to be here anymore. So when you learn, because like I said, your soul has made certain agreements with certain souls to come into your life at a specific time for you to then learn a specific lesson, right? So well, when you learn the lesson, these people then can go. And if you're noticing that all of a sudden people just leave your life, that is a good indicator that, well, maybe they were here for that specific time period for you to learn something, and now it's their time to leave. Like I said, when even situations just all of a sudden they dissolve, just like magic, where before you try to make it work, you try to fix it, you try to change it, but it wasn't going to budge, and all of a sudden it just started to fall away. That too is a great sign that you have just completed karmic lessons, because that situation is no longer needed for you to learn your lesson. Now, here I do want to invite you. If you're not quite sure why this is happening, take a step back and look at like, okay, well, what was happening? What was happening with the situation? What was this bringing up within me? Even people, for example. What have you learned? Let's say someone just all of a sudden leaves your life. I'm not talking about, in a bad way, but let's say you had a friend for a long time and all of a sudden you just kind of go your separate ways, right? That too could mean that you've learned a specific lesson. Or let's say for the longest time you were going through divorce and you had a really, really bad divorce where it was like war basically. And then all of a sudden the relationship between you and your ex is just getting better. It's not as tense anymore. That too is a great sign that you have completed a karmic lesson with this particular person, because things then are no longer, crazy intense. They're just starting to lessen. So whenever you're noticing that things start to fall away, situations just start to dissolve, or people just start kind of leaving your life, or the situation with these people start to change and getting better, that also is a great sign that you have just completed a karmic lesson. And the sixth and final sign is that you're actually feeling that inner growth and transformation. You know that something just happened, that something has shifted within you, because you didn't feel like you are no longer who you were before. You will notice that you have truly grown, and you will also have that inner knowing that I think I just came out of something. Like, let's say you feel like you just ran an absolute marathon and you finally came to the finish line. That kind of feeling, like you really feel like, I made it. I made it out of this. For example, if you had a really hard time and then all of a sudden you're realizing it's like, hey, it's what happened. I'm like, it just changed. It's no longer that intense. I think I finally made it. I think I finally made it through this challenging time. That too is a great sign that you just completed a karmic lesson. So karmic lessons are not always a bad thing. They are bad when you're not aware of what is going on. You're not aware that you are completing or that you're going through a karmic lesson. So here I always suggest become aware when something doesn't feel right, when something is misaligned, when something feels very challenging. Take that step back and allow yourself to look at it from a higher perspective. If you can do that early on at the onset of the challenge, you can complete this lesson much quicker than if you just go through it and you're reacting left and right and everything is happening all around. You're just like, what is going on? And you're just kind of being dragged with it without feeling like you have any power, any control over the situation. But when you allow yourself to say, like, okay, hold on, let me just take a step back here. Let me tune in and see what is going on. Then you allow yourself to really become aware of the situation, the challenge, the message, the lesson, and you take that. That's how you can more quickly resolve the karmic situation. And if you're not quite sure if you're going through a karmic relationship right now, check out the video I mentioned. It's in the description below about those signs of karmic relationships. But here I want to invite you, look at your life right now and see if any of those signs resonate with you. Is there something in your life right now that resonates with any of those signs that I just shared with you? And feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know, are you completing any karmic lessons right in this moment? Because with everything going on right now, there may still be a lot of karmic healing going on a global level. So feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know. And also maybe hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. But thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you were here. I hope this video was helpful for you. Now be sure to check out this video here about, like I said, the karmic relationships. Also, there's a karmic healing activation I want to mention as well to help you release those karmic lessons more quickly. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, make it an amazingly abundant, successful day. Namaste.